2 heads, 1 tail. Yang yin. Which is a dashed line on the bottom of our hexagram. One head, 2 tails, 1 yang line, which is a solid line. One head, 2 tails, yang yang, solid line. One head, 2 tails, yang yang line, solid line. Tail, 2 heads, yang yin line, broken line. Three heads, old yang line. I have two excerpts to read from Lao Tzu before we figure out what our hexagram is. Lao Tzu said, "Rank, power, and wealth are things people crave, but when compared to the body, they are insignificant. Therefore, sages eat enough to fill emptiness and maintain energy, and dress sufficiently to cover their bodies and keep out the cold. They adjust to their real conditions and refuse the rest, not craving gain and not accumulating much. Clarifying their eyes, they do not look. Quieting their ears, they do not listen. Closing their mouths, they do not speak. Letting their minds be, they do not think. Abandoning intellectualism, they return to utter simplicity. Resting their vital spirit, they detach from knowledge. Therefore, they have no likes or dislikes. This is called great attainment. To get rid of pollution and eliminate burdens, nothing compares to never leaving the source. Then what action will not succeed? Those who know how to nurture the harmony of life cannot be hooked by profit. Those who know how to join inside and outside cannot be seduced by power. Beyond where there is no beyond is most great. Within where there is no within is most precious. If you know the great and precious, where can you go and not succeed? Those who practiced the way in ancient times ordered their feelings in nature and governed their mental functions, nurturing them with harmony and keeping them in proportion. Enjoying the way, they forgot about lowliness. Secure in virtue, they forgot about poverty. There was that which by nature they did not want, and since they had no desire for it, they did not get it. There was that which their hearts did not enjoy, and since they did not enjoy it, they did not do it. Whatever had no benefit to essential nature, they did not allow to drag their virtue down. Whatever had no advantage for life, they did not allow to disturb harmony. They did not let themselves act or think arbitrarily, so their measures could be regarded as models for the whole world. They ate according to the size of their bellies, dressed to fit their bodies, lived in enough room to accommodate them, acted in accord with their true condition. They considered the world extra and did not try to possess it. They left everyone and everything to themselves and did not seek profit. How could they lose their essential life because of poverty or riches, high or low social status? Those who are like this can be called able to understand and embody the way. Our bottom trigram goes broken, solid, solid, which is the trigram. Xun, wind or wood. Xun is both wind and living plants. Whatever penetrates, spreads, and grows, shaping itself to the space available, or shaping that space to its own nature. She is responsive, flexibility, sensitively improvising and adapting. Like the wind, she can always find a way through because she never creates any resistance. And so her influence is subtle and gradual, but far-reaching. In the family of trigrams, Xun is the eldest daughter, gentle and submissive. She belongs to the southeast and to late spring and early summer. Our top trigram, or outer trigram, is solid, broken. Solid is how we'll read it. It'll give us a changing hexagram with that 6th line that is old, yang. It'll transform to young yin and give us a supporting hexagram. But for now, that top hexagram is Li, fire and light. Li is fire and light, both inner and outer. As an inner light, she is consciousness at its most lucid and unclouded, holding things together in the mind, perceiving their differences and connections, and discerning the underlying patterns of relationship. And as well as vision, Li is the light that makes things visible, the power to cast light on things, spreading clarity and awareness of order. Li is the middle daughter, living in the south, the region of midsummer and burning sun. Our first hexagram then will be 50. And when our top line changes to a young yin, that will give us, well, first, what will that trigram be when it changes? Zen, thunder. So then it will be Xun, wind or wood, beneath thunder, Zen. Thunder is shock and upheaval and the spark of the new. In old Chinese belief, thunder slept in the earth over winter and erupted from it in spring, awakening living things into new growth. Thunder is our basic drive for renewal. He inspires initiative and decisive action. He is the stimulus that sets things in motion. He is the eldest son in the trigram family, the first connection of heaven, potential, with earth, realization. Yang makes itself known here, emerging into the field and beginning to grow. Thunder belongs to the east and to spring. So once our changing line changes, we will have a supporting hexagram of 32. We'll be primarily reading out of I-ming, a Taoist adept in 1796, who wrote the Taoist I Ching. It'll be translated by Thomas Clearly. In the very front, gives us some succinct definitions of our hexagram, just to get the lay of the land before we get into the deep stuff. The Cauldron. Refining illumination. And our supporting hexagram is going to be Constancy. Single-minded application, perseverance in real practice. So, starting to read through the Taoist I Ching on hexagram 50, the Cauldron. The Cauldron is basically good. It is developmental. Explanation. The Cauldron is a vessel for refining by heat, whereby something new is obtained. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is fire, luminous, below is wind, penetrating. Producing illumination through following an initiatory process, the mind becomes daily more humble, while illumination increases daily. In the body of the hexagram, in the second line, yang, and the fifth line, yin, emptiness and fullness correspond. Within illumination is the ability to be empty and open. Within obedience is the capacity for fulfillment. When empty and illumined, that enlightenment illumines all, and the mind cannot be moved by the vagaries of wealth and status. When fulfilled yet docile, all virtues are developed, and neither fortune nor calamity can disturb one's nature. Producing illumination by following an initiatory process, following the process by opening awareness, emptiness and fullness balance each other. It is like the light of fire increasing when it gets wood, like the unrefined energy of wood being all transformed when it meets fire. Because it has the meaning of refining heating, it is called the Cauldron. This hexagram represents refining the great medicine. It follows on the previous hexagram, the well. The well indicates following a process and passing through danger. Having gotten through danger, the true yang trapped by conditioning is released, and the great medicine is born. Then one can accordingly further illumination and operate the fire for refinement. The work of refinement is the means by which to sublimate earthly energy and stabilize celestial energy, causing the raw to ripen and the old to be renewed, whereby it is possible to illumine the mind and to solidify life. Therefore, the cauldron is basically good, and it has a developmental path. The basis is the potential of everlasting life of goodness. The cooking of the great medicine in the cauldron is the firing of this living potential to make it incorruptible and permanent. But in this path there is process and procedure. Even the slightest deviation in the gold elixir will not form. Therefore, people must first thoroughly investigate the true principle. Supporting hexagram 32. Constancy. How the two hexagrams relate to each other. First, while I'm looking this up, whatever we come to the I Ching with or consult the oracle about, it will have the general context of how can I act in creative relation with the spirits or forces behind this moment of time. So, how the parts of your reading work together. The key to understanding a reading is to know your way around its main components, how they fit together, and the different roles they play. If your reading includes changing lines, then you will need to understand primary hexagram, relating hexagram, and changing lines together. The two hexagrams in conversation with one another map out your whole answer. The primary hexagram shows you quite directly what your answer involves. The relating hexagram generally describes what the answer is about for you. It sets the primary hexagram in a broader context, an influence, a direction of travel, an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. If the two hexagrams map out a landscape for you, then the changing lines stick a pin in that map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. They are the immediate answer to your question as the most specific, focused part of a reading. Their message always takes precedence over all other elements. For example, the primary hexagram might describe a reassuringly secure situation, but a changing line could warn how insecure your position is within it. Dun dun dun. So, hexagram 32, constancy. Constancy is developmental, impeccable. It is beneficial to be correct. It is beneficial to have a place to go. Explanation. Constancy means long persistence. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is thunder, active, and below is wind, penetrating. Acting gently as the breeze, active yet serene, neither identifying nor detaching, the mind steadfast and the will far-reaching. It is therefore called constancy. This hexagram represents genuine application in real practice. It follows on the previous hexagram, fire. Fire means illumining the inward as well as the outward, aiming at profound attainment of personal realization, so that illumination is all-pervasive. But the path of pervasive illumination is not possible without a constant mind. Constancy means single-mindedly applying the will, the longer the stronger, not becoming lazy and slacking off. Thereby one can comprehend essence in life, so there is a path of development in constancy, and it is also possible to be impeccable thereby. However, though constancy can lead to development and impeccability, it is only beneficial if constancy is correct. If it is not correct, abandoning the real and entering into the false, then it is not developmental and is faulty. The blind practitioners in the world who go into deviant paths, taking what is wrong to be right, aggrandizing themselves, boasting of their practices and cultivating vain reputations, striving all their lives without ever awakening, most assuredly are capable of constancy, but they are constant in aberrated paths, not constant in the right path. If you want to seek eternal life in this way, you will, on the contrary, hasten death. When your time is up, you will have no way out and cannot escape the blame. How could you gain good fortune? Therefore, constancy in the developmental, impeccable way is only brought to fruition by correctness. Even so, the benefit of correctness of constancy is preeminently the benefit in correctness of constant practice. So the text says, it is beneficial to have a place to go. The benefit lies only in constant practice of what is correct. What is correct is true principle, which is the Tao of body and mind, essence and life. This path appropriates yin and yang, takes over creation, sheds birth and death, escapes compulsive routine. This is a great work involving constancy and persistence. It cannot be accomplished in day and a night. It requires flexible, gentle, gradual advance, ascending realm of reality. Ascending from low to high, going from shallow to deep, step by step, treading in the realm of reality. Only then can one be effective. Generally speaking, a great affair which endures long, unchanging, requires great work that endures long, unceasing, before it can be achieved. The constancy that is beneficial, if correct, is the constancy that is beneficial if it is going somewhere. But if you want to practice what is right, first you must know what is right. Investigating truth, reaching the basis of essence, thereby arriving at the universal order. The work of comprehending essence and arriving at the universal order of life is all a matter of thoroughly penetrating truth. Changing line 6. Cauldron. Hexagram 50. The cauldron has a jade handle. This is very auspicious, entirely beneficial. Explanation. In the end of use of the cauldron, when the work of renewal in the cauldron is finished, neither being nor non-being remains. Things in self revert to emptiness. In stillness one is uncontrived. In action one is spontaneous. Strength is flexible. Flexibility is strong. Without applying strength, strength is complete. Without applying awareness, awareness is penetrating. One has reached the stage of complete sincerity, in which foreknowledge is possible. This is like a jade handle on a cauldron. It is a handle, yet it is pure jade. Firmness and softness are as one. The temperament and constitution are transformed. Body and mind are both refined. Merging in reality with the Tao. This is the ultimate achievement of practice of the Tao, the complete ability of sages. Transcending yin and yang, one is not constrained by yin and yang. Therefore, it is very auspicious, entirely beneficial. This is the complete integration and assimilation of the mind of Tao and the human mind. In working on the cauldron, there is firmness and softness, advancing and withdrawing, adding and subtracting. Unless you reach the stage where being and non-being do not stand, and spiritual creativity is incalculable, you cannot be said to have reached the ultimate achievement. If you do not know the methods of firmness and softness, advancing and withdrawing, adding and subtracting, then you will either fall into the removal of the cauldron's hooks of line 3 or the spilling of the food of line 4. The slightest deviation produces a tremendous loss. Therefore, practitioners of the Tao should promote illumination slowly, according to the initiatory process, carefully watching over the firing. We'll now read both of those hexagrams out of Hilary Barrett's commentary and translation. We forgot some good stuff in this one. Ooh. We would have come back, but let's read it now. The back of this Taoist I Ching, there's more commentary that I think is a little more I-ming's personal take on things than translation, I believe. Either way, it's usually super valuable. 50, the Cauldron. Fire above, wind below. Keeping in mind that our changing lines were still our most direct point on the map of where we might find ourselves or are now. Fire above, wind below. There is fire on top of wood, a cauldron. Thus do superior people stabilize life in the proper position. The cauldron stands for the process of refinement by fire. Above is fire, below is wind, associated with wood. There is fire on top of wood. Fire and wood in one place, refining things by heating, is the image of the cauldron. What superior people see in this is that just as a cauldron is a means of cooking things, but cannot accomplish this without the action of wood and fire, in the same way the Tao is the means of bearing life, but stabilization of life cannot be accomplished without the work of entry and understanding. Therefore, they gradually cultivate practice on the basis of the proper standpoint to stabilize their life. Proper means not being partial or biased, not being hypocritical or dishonest. The position or standpoint is the opening of the mysterious paths, the door of the earthly and the celestial. Stabilization means concentration without fragmentation. Life means the primordial generative energy. If one can make one's standpoint correct so that one's position is proper, one enters the Tao gradually and practices it with understanding, benevolence, justice, courtesy, and knowledge root in the mind. Vitality, spirit, and earthly soul and the celestial soul combine, and the elements of vitality, energy, spirit, essence, and intent integrate. Energy becomes replete, the spirit becomes complete, and life is stabilized. The path of stabilizing life lies entirely in work in the right place. To be incapable of the proper position is to be ignorant of the mysterious paths. To be ignorant of the mysterious paths is to be ignorant of life. Being ignorant of life leads to attachment to voidness or clinging to form, taking the false to be real, entering into the byways of auxiliary methods. Then not only is one unable to stabilize life, one is even prone to injuring life. Life is the primordial sane energy. Life is what is correct. What is correct is life. The correct standpoint, the proper position, is carefully preserving the sane energy in the mysterious paths, maturing and refining it with both gentle and intense effort, working by day, cautious by night, not letting any external energy contaminate the cauldron and furnace, aiming to correct that which is not correct, aiming to stabilize that which is unstable, proceeding from effort to finally reach spontaneity, returning from confusion to order. The work of stabilizing life in its proper position is consummated. And then 32, Constancy. In the back he calls it perseverance. Thunder above, wind below. Thunder and wind are perpetual. Thus does the superior person stand without changing places. Perseverance is persistence. Above is thunder, below is wind. When thunder is in motion, wind follows along. Thunder and wind grasp each other. With wind, the sound of thunder reaches afar. Following thunder, the blowing of the wind is powerful. This is the image of perseverance. What superior people see in this is that just as the nature of thunder is strong while the nature of wind is gentle, strength and gentility balancing one another so as to be able to stir myriad beings in the same way, there is strength and gentility in people, which require one another so as to enable people to persist in carrying out the way. Thereby they stand without changing places. To stand means to be decisive, to have stability of concentration. One's place means the path that is to be traveled, the way that is to be carried out. There are students who are decisive in doing things. There are those who are decisive but do not know the proper way to go. And there are those who know the way to go but eventually slack off after an earnest start, after their plans along the way, and change their places. All of them lack the determination to persevere consistently, so they are unable to practice the eternally unchanging Tao. Superior people consider the nature and life of mind and body to be the one important matter, and they know that to accomplish the Tao that is eternally unchanging requires a permanently unchanging will. Emulating the strength and vigor of thunder and the flexible gentility of wind, they single out what is good and hold to it, gradually advancing in an orderly manner, growing ever stronger and longer, they persevere. Wealth and rank cannot make them dissolute. Poverty and ignominy cannot move them. Authority and arms cannot suppress them. Everything in existence, being void of absoluteness, they rest in the appropriate place, thus able to reach profound attainment of self-realization, in which the earthly and celestial are combined, lasting forever without corruption. Hexagram 50 out of Hilary Barrett's Tao Te Ching. The I Ching, rather. She calls it the vessel. Key questions. What is the vessel for transformation? What are you beginning? What will you cook? Oracle. The vessel. Creating success from the source. Good fortune. This marks a new beginning. The sacred vessel is cast and used in the great ceremonies that inaugurate a new dynasty. The spirits are invited to share in the meal it contains, renewing their connection with the people. The vessel provides stable, robust foundations for a new life, and also the crucible where you can expect to be transformed and remade. The vessel contains and transforms. Just as wood becomes fire, or smelted ore becomes a great bronze vessel, or raw ingredients become fragrant food, so the experiences of life can be blended and transmuted into a meaningful whole. Image. Above wood there is fire, the vessel. A noble one sets the situation straight and consolidates her destiny. Fire arises from wood, and clarity arises from subtle inward receptivity. This is the cooking place, the place for transmutation, And so the noble one works to bring it into harmony. She straightens out her situation, her relationships especially, and where she stands overall. This provides a good, stable basis for transformative work, a harmonious context where destiny can be realized. Inside a well-made vessel, your sense of who you are and what you are here to do crystallizes and becomes clearly defined. Sequence. The vessel follows from Hexagram 49, radical change. For radically changing things, nothing equals a vessel. It continues what radical change began, providing a secure space for transformation. Hexagram 32, lasting. What inspiration are you making real in your daily life? How can you continue on the same path even as you adapt? Who will you become by persevering in this? Oracle. Lasting, creating success, not a mistake. Constancy bears fruit. Fruitful to have a direction to go. Whatever becomes part of the heart's circling journey will last. We bind things, influences, ideas, people, into the fabric of our lives by integrating them into the daily round of our way of living, so that they are carried with us through change. This is an active creative process, keeping the channels always open for exchange between inspiration and reality. Lasting tirelessly on your own path, whatever landscapes it travels through, is not a mistake. What lasts bears fruit, not because you arrive at some final destination, but because through all the changes you persevere in your intent and inspiration, and you are always finding ways to make it real. Image. Thunder and wind, lasting. A noble one stands firm and does not change his bearings. Thunder and wind are endlessly changeable, but they are part of a larger lasting cycle. The noble one's inner nature, subtle as the wind, translates into action as decisive as thunder. So, however the environment changes, everything he does will always travel in the same direction. Sequence. Lasting follows from Hexagram 31, influence. The way of husband and wife cannot fail to endure, and so lasting follows. Lasting means enduring. Influence is a traditional hexagram for betrothal and Hexagram 32 for marriage. You are attracted towards something enduring, so influence can be fixed into life like dye into a cloth. Then the lasting patterns of life are infused with vitality. Now changing line 6 from Hexagram 50, the vessel, or the cauldron. Line 6. The vessel has a jade handle, great good fortune, nothing that does not bear fruit. Jade is the most precious material of all, and one that requires many hours and days of painstaking effort to shape and polish. Using it to craft the handle is a sign that the vessel is greatly honored for its capacity to be moved from place to place and down through the ages. A handle of jade will always be strong and softly lustrous. It will never tarnish. What you have here is immensely precious, not necessarily because of present circumstances, but because of the lasting value you can carry forward. 37. In the Tao Te Ching. Tao abides in non-action, yet nothing is left undone. If kings and lords observed this, the 10,000 things would develop naturally. If they still desired to act, they would return to the simplicity of formless substance. Without form, there is no desire. Without desire, there is tranquility. And in this way, all things would be at peace. Trying too hard. This is a beechwood wand. Planetary associations would be Mercury and Saturn. Mm-hmm.